Welcome to Speaking of Entrepreneurship, a podcast powered by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Cuyahoga Community College's Corporate College. Here, we dive into real conversations with industry experts, innovative founders, and business leaders who share their insights, challenges, and strategies for success. Whether you're launching a startup, scaling your business, or just exploring the entrepreneurial mindset, this is your space to learn, adapt, and thrive.
Hello and welcome to Speaking of Entrepreneurship. My name is Heather Holmes Dillard, and I am here with Lamar Tyler, founder of Traffic Sales and Profit, a global community helping tens of thousands of entrepreneurs turn their audiences, ideas, and expertise into real scalable revenue. Welcome to Cleveland, Lamar.
Thank you. I'm excited to be in Cleveland.
I'm very
excited.
First time?
You know what? I did not realize until yesterday. I think this is my first. I've been to most of the United States. I've been to almost all the major cities. And I've been to Columbus. I've been to Cincinnati. But as I was on the flight, I was thinking this might be my first time to Cleveland. And then when I landed, you know, you go places, it might be 20 years, you're like, this feels familiar. It didn't feel familiar. So I was excited to get here.
Well, welcome to the land of, industry and innovation and where scaling one's business, John D. Rockefeller, right? Welcome to Cleveland. We're excited to have you.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
So I understand that your journey did not start as a full-time entrepreneur.
Not at all.
So what really was that turning point that you said, I'm going to bet on myself. It's time. We're ready.
Always say that I think my journey started like a lot of people that are probably watching, right? It didn't start with venture capital. It didn't start with seed money. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what entrepreneurship really was. I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. There was no one that tapped me. I think too many times people wait for someone to tap them and say, hey, do you have a great idea? I'd love to fund it. And that wasn't my story. So my story is, I worked corporate. I worked a 9 to 5. I ran the IT department at a TV station in Washington, D.C.
Oh, there you go.
Like that was my last corporate gig. And I, did IT for 17 years. And the turning point, I'll never forget, was I was, kind of pitching ideas and we were having success at work with the ideas, but the success we were having were only a fraction of what we should have been doing. And I was trying to, communicate that to the other leaders on the team, trying to communicate that to, my peers and my higher ups, and no one got the vision.
Was this like media? Was this the transition of digital?
It was. It was, right? Because our TV station, when they came into the internet, they came late. They came heavy, but they came late, right?
Are you allowed to tell me what the TV network was?
Yeah, I don't work there anymore. I don't care. It was. I was the IT manager for the Fox owned and operated station.
Okay.
So it was Fox 5, WTTG.
Okay.
And then Channel 20, also WTC. It was duopoly.
That gives some context. Okay.
It was duopoly, right? So okay, we can get into it. We can get into it. Okay, so let's get into it. So when Rupert Murdoch came into the internet, like I said, he came heavy, but they came late. So his major acquisition at the time was MySpace. But it was after Facebook had already launched. So, I went and proposed to the station general manager. Black Enterprise Magazine had just released an issue that talked about Prince George's County was the #1 county in the country for affluent African Americans.
Yes.
So I went to my GM and I pitched this idea around creating a website that was the first professional news organization site catered on the African-American community. And what I told them is that we already have the stories. We already had the content, not just from our station, but stations from around the country that were in major urban populations like Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, LA. We just weren't curating the content for the right audience. He gave me the green light. We did it at no cost to the station. And that year, there were, I believe, about 22 to 25 owned and operated stations. Each one had 4 or 5 individual websites besides their station website that they curated. And, altogether 80 plus websites, we were number 4.
Okay.
And we were number 4 with a website that was free that they paid nothing for. Now at the same time, our station also had, a high school sports website where they would fly out a helicopter over top of games on Friday nights. They'd have 4 crews out. And this was so nowadays, like the media is one person with a camera and you
They're
report.
on their iPhones now.
It's crazy. But this is back in the day when the crew was a reporter, a photog going out, they taking the vehicle out. So that's the fleet, is gas, all these things. And we had a website that was crushing them for free. And as I kept pitching additional ideas, They just couldn't see the vision. And what it was is, I want everybody to listen to this. They had a limited mindset. So much of entrepreneurship, business success in life is around your mindset. And their mindset kept telling them that in order to do more, we would need more. And what I kept sharing with them is, hey, I know somebody at home just has a website and they don't have any of the cachet of Fox, of having a TV station, of the visibility that you can give someone. And if they're getting this for free, then we can too. But they kept thinking that every idea meant that we needed 20 people on staff to do it, because they just thought the way that a lot of times big corporations do.
I think, right. It's
and big corporations, when they get big, they get slow. So I'll never forget, I went home one day and told my wife, I'm no longer going to give them my $1 million ideas. We're going to create our own $1 million business.
There you go.
I don't know.
And I
had no idea how to do it. No, that's a different story. But, we eventually did figure it out and we got to it.
Okay. So you left there and you started with your blog?
Yes, started a blog, blackandmarriedwithkids.com. It was very to the point, right? When I said it, you know exactly who it was for. And what we did is we wanted to show there were positive images of marriage and parenting in the African-American community. At the time, everything we saw in the media was negative, and we said there have to be other couples like ourselves that love each other. And as we put the site out there, right, and this is early in the blogging days, this was December of 2007.
Okay.
As we put it out there, it just instantly took off. And we had couples coming and saying, we've been married 10, 20, 30 years, never see ourselves represented. And we had singles coming and saying, my parents have been married for 40 and 50 years. So I know that this type of love exists, but I never see it. So one of the things I always tell entrepreneurs is, where's the gap? Where can you find the gap and how can you serve that gap? And a lot of times we know where the gap is because we are a part of that gap. Like, we live in that gap every day. So instead of just thinking and saying, I wish someone would notice me, I wish someone would create this product or service, how can you be the one to create it?
Go do it. Just go
create
do
that
it.
product or service yourself.
So you talk a lot about first building an audience and attention, and then turning that into revenue. So what does that look like? What's the hack?
Yeah, what I want everybody to do is think about this, and if they're watching, they should write this down. I call it ACC, and I'm not talking about the Atlantic Coast Conference, right? For sports fans and college fans. What I'm talking about is, at the top, you have to be able to attract people. So what can you do? That's when we're doing organic social media. That's when we're going out networking. That's when we're speaking on stages. We have to be able to attract people. It's talking about the customer journey, like 6 stages of the customer journey. Like, the number one thing is we have to be able to attract people so they can become aware of what we actually do and who we are. But once we attract people, what a lot of people miss in the first leak they have in their business is they attract them, but they don't capture them.
Yeah.
And the reason we have to capture them and capture the information, that's email address, phone number, some way to keep in contact with them, is that the majority of people are not ready to buy the first time they see your product or service.
They need to figure out who you are. Do I trust you? Right.
The majority of entrepreneurs I talk to, when I stand in front of a room, I say, how many of you have a product or service that you have to educate the person on first before they're ready to buy? The majority of hands go up. So if you know you have a product or service that you have to educate people with, and you're not actually capturing the information, what I tell people is, this is the same thing as in Mississippi, they have houses they call shotgun houses. Because they say you could open up the front door and the back door and you can see directly through it, right? You shot a shotgun through it, will go from the front all the way through the back. Well, that's what we're doing in our businesses every day. We attract people. We make amazing content. We do amazing marketing. We get people to the retail location, but we don't capture the information. They come right into the store. They walk right out. And how many times have you seen a great product or service, something that you wanted, and you said, I'm going to come back later, and you couldn't even remember the website? So it's not always that they don't want what you have. We're just in the most chaotic time ever. People don't remember.
Yeah. We get served a lot of things.
We get served a lot of things.
On all the platforms all the time.
You know, what I like to tell people, a lot of times they think that they're competing with their peers. If I have a cookie shop, I'm competing with the other cookie shop. When you're competing for attention, you're competing with everyone. I'm competing with Netflix and you going home and binging out on the series tonight. I'm competing with the NBA Finals. I'm competing with Major League Baseball. I'm competing with the next Bachelor season that's about to start. I'm competing with your kids.
So, I mean, I liked what you mentioned this because, all right, so you started this blog. So this is how you built your audience, right? And so, at what point did you say, aha, I've got this audience. Now I want to try to monetize that, right? In a way that can stand on its own compared to somebody going home to watch Netflix.
Great question.
Playoffs are on right now, right?
Yes.
All of the things.
Great question, right? When we talk about ACC, we were doing a good job of capturing up front. we started that blog. Immediately it took off. So we had a lot of traffic. Traffic is the amount of people comes to the website. If you online or offline, doesn't matter, right? If you have a website or e-commerce business, traffic is how many visitors you get. If I have a retail store, it's how many people walk through the door. So we had traffic and people were coming in. The problem is that we weren't capturing those people. So they come to the website and they bounce right off and we didn't have a way to get back in touch with them. Then we eventually put up pop-ups. We put up lead magnets, right? Lead magnet is something of value we give in exchange for that email information or that phone number. So we started capturing people. The problem was the last C, which is convert. We weren't converting anybody. And what it is, we had to learn how to actually sell. And most people assume that if you have a good product or service, people will buy. That is not true. Not only do you have to have a good product or service, but you have to be able to market it. You have to be able to brand it. You have to be able to actually turn that product or service into an offer, right? You know, I tell people all the time, the best offer that you'll ever see is an offer that'll wake you up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Right.
When you go to sleep and you left the TV on and you halfway hearing it in the background. Then after a while, you get up and put your glasses on. And then 30 minutes later, you done bought 2 garden hoses.
I need that.
That come with the kitchen knives.
I need that. So, you know, that's a good point. I mean, so what is this disconnect, right? When, you know, let's take the Fox example. I mean, people come up with a product line, right? And I know everyone wants to buy this. And then you post it once and it's like, well, no one has really bought it. Or like they have taken, you know, what could have been a matter of 30 minutes and spent 30 days or 30 months building this whole, trying to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, this is actually what your customers want or need.
The biggest issue people have is lack of consistency. And that's the biggest thing I see that interferes with sales. Can I talk to the people for a second?
Go and talk to the people.
You know, I just want to tell everybody watching this, right? So many people are afraid of failure, but it's only failure if you quit. And the reason I like to emphasize that is because they have to go into business knowing that along this path, there are going to be a ton of lessons. Now, that lesson only turns into a failure if you don't take the next step. But whenever we launch a product or service, I go into it knowing that it's probably not going to be bonkers just from day one. The first day I open it up, the first day I put it on the website, the first time I send out an email, we're not going to make millions of dollars. So it's my job just to get into the marketplace. Then once I get into the marketplace, I call it LAO. We need to launch it. Number one, too many people never even launched the thing. That's a different story. We need to launch it. Once we launch it, we have to analyze it. What does the data tell us? How many people looked at it? How many people visited? How many people bought? How many people didn't buy? You know, how long did they stay on the site? How long, you know, if we're vending in person, what are people telling us? What are the objections they have, right? So we got to analyze it. Once we analyze it, then we optimize it. We go back and take all those findings. We make a better offer. And then guess what? We do the same thing over again. Launch it, analyze, optimize again. The problem is too many people are perfectionists. So for perfectionists, they can never even launch the first time. Because while I get it out, one of my favorite quotes is done is better than perfect. I get it out.
Which spoke life to me because I'm a Virgo, just so you know. But keep going.
So done is better than perfect. So not that I'm giving out a trash product or service, right? But I'm giving out that minimum viable product. I want to get out into the marketplace because I don't know whether it works or not until someone swipes a credit card for it. So once I get out into the marketplace, I can tell what's happening. I can analyze, optimize, get it back out. By the time the perfectionist has gotten their first product to market, I may be in my 6th iteration. And meanwhile, they're trying to work on the perfect font. They're in Canva. Canva's not a sponsor, are they?
No.
Okay. They're in Canva.
I love Canva and I'm an Adobe.
I love it, right?
I'm an Adobe girl.
I love it.
Canva. Yeah.
But these entrepreneurs in Canva way too long.
Yeah.
Make your stuff in Canva, get out of Canva, launch it. Like we spending too much time on the logo, too much time on the color palette, right? Like these are not the things that matter the most. What matters is what is the transformation that your product or service is going to give to that end customer, and what is the issue, the challenge, the problem that it overcomes in their life.
So what are some of the things that you've noticed in the entrepreneurs that you have mentored and work with that separates the folks who stay stuck and those who actually grow? What is that secret sauce?
Good question. Number one, like I said, you can't be stuck in analysis paralysis. You have to be able to go forward and make quick, fast decisions. One of my clients, Dr. Joffrey Mount Vernon, is an ER doctor.
Okay.
Right. As an ER doctor, he has a book called Split Second Decisions. He has to make decisions every day, probably life or death decisions for people. And one of the things he talks about decision fatigue. he said, hey, most people can't make a decision because they wait too late in the day to actually make decisions. Because as your brain goes on, he said your brain makes something like 80,000 decisions a day.
Yeah.
So as your brain goes on late in the day, you don't want to make decisions, which for my wife, Ronnie, and I, who's my business partner, we have 4 kids. By the end of the day, the easiest question is the hardest question. And that's when we get home and the kids ask what?
What are we having? Where are we
What's
going?
for dinner?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't even want to add, like, that's the hardest question because we already got decision fatigue.
Ooh, you have no idea.
But what he also talks about is that no decision is a decision. Mm-hmm. And that's what most entrepreneurs don't realize. They don't want to make a decision. Don't want to make a decision on logo. Don't want to make a decision on the color. Don't want to make a decision on when should I launch. Don't want to make a decision on should I hire someone. Oof. Should I advertise? So since they don't make decisions, they just delay. And when they delay, that's a decision. And it's a decision that's telling your business no.
Ooh, thank you, Lamar. Okay, so now what? Woo, yes. What is one thing?
He was going real good or real bad. I can't tell. I might not get invited back. I want to come back.
It is
Y'all
like
got to bring me back to Cleveland.
To my spirit. You have no idea. Okay, what's one thing that people are doing right now that feels productive but is actually slowing them down? So you mentioned this analysis paralysis. I was watching or reading something about Steve Jobs and Michael Jackson, how they intentionally wear the same thing every day because that's one less decision to make.
One less decision.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some more of these things that people should actually be focusing their time on instead?
Can we talk about social media?
Yes.
Social media is the gift and the curse. I love it. Now, social media is why I'm here. So I'm not telling people, when I came in, I said, how'd y'all find out about me? Oh, Instagram, right? I love social media. But it's easy for you to spend time on social media, feeling like you are productive and not really getting anything done. So one of the things I encourage entrepreneurs to do, when I first left my 9-to-5 and I said, hey, I'm going full time into it, the most important thing I do, I heard this somewhere and I wish I could remember where I heard it from, but I wrote down on the whiteboard in my office, what are you doing to make money today? Uh-huh. So when you're on social media, you should be on social media with a goal of these actions and these efforts that I put in are generating cash.
It's going to convert.
When you're just swiping, you're generating cash, but for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So you need to go do what you need to do. That means that I'm putting out something to promote my business. I'm putting out something to educate people, because we talked about the fact a lot of us need to educate people before they're ready to buy. I'm putting out something to build my authority. But whenever I do whatever I need to do, then I get off.
Mm-hmm. And go do something else.
And go do something productive. And whatever I'm doing, I need to make, especially for early stage entrepreneurs, every day I need to be asking myself that question, what am I doing to make money today? Because there has to be direct actions. And those actions can be, I'm on one-on-one with a client, I close them and I sell, make the money today. It could be I'm developing a new product or service. It's going to launch a month from now. So that'll be next month's money. But it has to be, I call them MGA, money generating activities.
Yeah.
And early stage businesses oftentimes don't have enough money generating activities because they're spending too much time on things that don't matter.
I was watching as I was preparing to talk to you, your Instagram. And
my Instagram is fine. You can scroll.
It's lovely.
I'm encouraging you to scroll all day.
I did. And you were in conversation with, I'm not sure if it was your wife or a young lady, but you were talking about the importance of multiple streams of revenue.
Yes.
Because for entrepreneurs, for small nonprofits, if that one big nut doesn't drop, then you're in jeopardy of closing or not making payroll. So talk about kind of these systems. And so, how we monetize different strategies to be productive with our time and have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, I will say multiple streams of income can be tricky, because what I tell people is they have to build the first stream first and then break those streams off. And too many times what I find, especially from early stage entrepreneurs, we get excited, especially in the era of the podcast and YouTube, where so many people talking about multiple streams of income. And I need to be a real estate agent, a real estate broker, a real estate investor. I'm a day trade stock, work my 9-to-5. I'm a sell ice cream. I'm a
OMG.
And I'm a consultant.
Sir.
And I'm doing AI services, people.
Sir.
So instead of multiple streams of income, what I call that is multiple streams of struggle. Because if income is not coming in, then all you're doing is struggling and you're expanding your ability to struggle outwards. So what we need to do is we need to say, what is the one thing that I'm very good at? The one thing I can specialize in? The one thing, people ask me a lot, do I chase my perfection? Do I chase my purpose, like what exactly is it? And I tell them, you can have purpose, but we also got to have is profit. Because if we follow our purpose and it doesn't have profitability, then that's when we love the work that we do, but we stress the heck out because we can't make ends meet. If all we care about is the profitability and we don't have any purpose in it, then eventually we get burned out because even though the money is good, after a while, the money's not enough. So we got to have both our purpose and we got to have a profit tied together, but we gotta be able to focus on something long enough so they can grow. And then once that grows, then we can look to what those multiple streams are.
So tell me, with that in mind, tell me about what advice you give in your community to entrepreneurs about building and scaling. Is there a difference? There is,
and most people don't know. Great question. Most people don't know, right? So when we talk about growing or we talk about scaling, most people use those interchangeably, but they're not. As we talk about growth, what growth means is that as my revenue increases in the business, my actual expenses are probably increasing with it. So when we hit growth stage in our company, what that meant is that, okay, revenue's coming in, way more clients are coming in, but we do entrepreneurship education. So that means we had to hire more coaches. That means when we went to our events, the ballrooms had to get bigger. That means we had to buy more plates of $60 and $70 food that was not good from the hotels, but it was expensive, right? All my event people know exactly what I'm talking about. Right. So we had to do all those things. So as we made a lot more money, we also spent a lot more money. Our payroll went over 7 figures in payroll every year. When we talk about scale, you get to a tipping point where your expenses no longer keep up with your growth. And that's when we hit scale. And most people cannot make it out of growth stage to scale stage because in order to get to scale stage, a few things has to happen. When we talk about what has to happen, number one, you have to just have longevity and consistency. Like I said, to actually make it from one stage to the next. Too many people give up too early. I'm gonna repeat myself. Too many people give up too early.
Especially when them expenses keep coming up.
Right? Yeah. Because what it looks like, this is such a good conversation. You have to be focused on what your why. We're talking about you gotta have a why, what your why is. When you're going through growth stage, it will test your why. One time I was talking to my team and I blew away one of my team members, blew away their mind because I was saying, hey, me and Ronnie could make the same amount of money with just probably 2 or 3 of y'all or just working on our own. And they said, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean? I said, the amount that we take home is not what we make. We make it millions. We ain't taking home millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
That's not what we take home. I mean, the amount of profitability, we could do something way more profitable and just coach people one-on-one ourselves, right? And we could command a mighty dollar to do that. I said, the reason we built all of this is to pour into all of you.
That's your why.
That's my why, right? The reason we do it is because we want to serve more clients. The reason we do it is because we want to employ more people. That's why we need such a big business. If all we want to do is make money for Lamar and Ronnie, we could find something way easier, right? With way less people to do it and it was way more profitable. So you need those type of, pulls and things that push you to what the purpose is to move you through those tough stages.
Yes.
And growth is a tough stage to get you to where you actually can scale. In addition to that, you need operations and you need team. And a lot of people, team scares them because team will be the hardest thing you ever do in that business.
Accountable, people, right? People. And so how important is community in this growth, in the growth and scale?
It's vital. What I tell people is that community, I feel like, is the AI buster. It's the anti-AI.
Who are you and where did you come from? Yes.
I've been waiting for y'all to bring me to Cleveland. I've literally been waiting. Let's book the next flight.
Come on with it.
Because all the things that AI will do, all the places it will come into, I feel like the one thing it can't duplicate or create is community.
Without a doubt.
And we saw that during COVID, right? During COVID, when everyone was kind of alone to themselves, as soon as it was over, the one thing people longed for was to be back together, to be around other people, right? We had the biggest conferences we ever had right coming out of COVID because people wanted to get in the room
together.
And they wanted to just be around other people. So I feel like while AI can come and it can do a lot of administrative work, it can crunch the data, it can do the numbers, right? We can build robots to do different functions. What it can't duplicate is this. Me and you sitting down having a great conversation.
And it's been such a pleasure.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to your why as we wrap this up. Was there a moment in your journey where you realized that this was bigger than the business and where this impact really hit you?
Definitely so. And I would say there probably are continuing stages of it because as you grow, I feel like that next moment is right around the corner. So some of them for me are, as the companies grew, we first started in the early days of Traffic Sales and Profit, our average company that came in and was a client probably was doing $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, right? Then that came to $100,000 a year. Then it came to multiple six figures. Now, every June at our TSP Live conference, we give out 6, 7, and 8 figure awards.
Love.
And back when we started, like the only 7-figure company was us. It just was like me and my wife. And then like it may have been like, hey, like one of our early mentors. But now to see how many people have crossed that stage and been successful and what they needed. They had a great product or service. There are a lot of people that have a great product or service. They just needed a few things that were missing. Information on how to monetize, information on how to price it, information on how to market it better. Some just needed more visibility.
Visibility, accountability partner.
Accountability, right? The community piece again. Yes. So, if I could, just push this across to people as we get, I feel like we're getting towards the end. I don't want it to end, but I feel like you're moving me there, right? So I want to make sure I say this. The person with the best product or service does not make the most money most of the time. It's the person with the most visible product or service. The problem is that the person with the best product or service oftentimes sits in their storefront, sits in their office, sits at their home computer, and prides themselves on the fact that I have the thing that is the best. But that is not enough. And as we go into 2026, we go into 2027, in the age of AI, there are people that are going to be able to create products and services just as good, if not better. We need the people that have integrity. We need the people that care about customers. We need the people that care about their teams and employees to stand up and build massive companies so that they can serve other people and not just themselves.
What does visible mean to you?
Visible means that other people have to know that you exist. Too many people are hiding. And again, your product or service is not enough. You need to come from behind the shadows because the world needs what you have, but we only get it if you show up.
There's a saying that I also like, perhaps it'll change your life as you have changed mine. You can always work on your business or in your business, but it matters how much you work on it as well.
Definitely.
So part of the showing up is being out to let people know the great work you're doing. So when your grandchildren talk about you one day and what you do, what do you hope that they will say about the impact that you have made?
The most important thing I want them to say is that my grandfather loved my grandmother.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's because I think you still got to keep things in perspective as well.
Yeah.
So when my wife and I, people always would ask us like, what's the legacy you want to leave? I said legacy of love. That's like the main thing. Like the money is cool. The material things are cool. What I want them, number one, to say is that I know my grandfather, I know my father, like love it was not a doubt.
Yeah.
It was not like, do I think, sometimes they were cool. Sometimes they were beefing. It's like, I want them to say, hey, without a shadow of a doubt, he loved her, she loved him, they loved each other. And because of that love, like this is what was built out of it.
And they poured into others.
Yes.
Love this for you. Thank you. Thank nice
you.
Having you. We hope to see you back in Cleveland a lot more.
Yes.
Let
I'm
this
one flight away.
There you go. Let this not be the last.
Away.
It's your first.
Yes.
Not the last. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast, brought to you by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Corporate College. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow entrepreneurs. Tune back in to stay connected with us for more insights and resources to help you build, innovate, and thrive.